Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about a game that is currently on sale on the eShop right now, and that is Mana Spark. Mana Spark is a game I feel like is on everyone's list, but I don't see many people who have actually played it. So today I'm going to be talking about a few reasons that may be worth a purchase, a few reasons that might not be worth a purchase, and then at the end I'm going to talk about whether I actually regret my purchase or if I think it's worth it. So let's jump right into that and start talking about Mana Spark. The first reason it may be worth a purchase is because it's slightly different from other roguelike games. If you've played Enter the Gungeon, Wizard of Legend, a bunch of roguelike games, they're all kind of similar in the sense that it's run and gun, get in there, kill as much enemies as you can, as quick as you can, get the item, get the reward, and leave. Mana Spark plays it a little differently. You kind of have to have a little bit of patience. You play as an archer, so if your shot misses, you have a little bit of a reload time. Unless, of course, you have the crossbow character, which you unlock after getting through level 2. But we're just going to talk about the main character because that's what a lot of people are familiar with. So your shots, basically, like, they count. Your shots actually count in this game. And you don't have a set number of arrows, but if you miss, that could be the end of your run, simply due to the strength of the enemies. So I put that as a pro for this game. That sets it aside from other roguelike games we've all played. It just... being patient, you have to learn the enemy patterns, you have to just take your time, you have to make sure your shots count. And all the enemies have different strategies and tactics they do, so you have to learn to adapt to them, you have to learn to adapt to the environment, and you have to learn to just play around with the environment and figure out how is the best and most efficient way to kill these enemies without them killing you first. And if you want something a little bit slower paced, and you want something that requires a little bit more patience, a little bit more not so much strategy, but kind of strategy. That's definitely a good game for it, because it is a fresh take on the roguelike genre. The second reason I am really enjoying this game, and it's not so much why it's worth a purchase, but something I like about this game that is very small is a soundtrack. The first area, I think it's called Wolfsbane Forest or Wolfsbane Woods, it's very relaxing, it's very chill. It kind of sounds like Minecraft in a way, and I know basically everyone has played Minecraft. And if you have, you know what I'm talking about, where you got the relaxing music. And that's just a small thing, but that is something I really enjoy about this game. The third thing I like about this game is that there are actually non-hostile enemies in the game. For example, there's a boar where if you don't attack it, it won't hurt you. But if you're low on health, you can hunt it and heal. As soon as you shoot that first arrow, it's going to become hostile and try and kill you. But like I said, you can hunt it, get the health, and move on. And then in the second area, there's these little grub things. And if you shoot them, they kind of pulsate, and then they shoot spikes out in different directions. You can use that to your advantage by shooting them when they're near other enemies like skeletons and goblins and whatnot, and maybe even get a kill from it. I've done that a couple times, and like it's just cool to have non-hostile enemies in an area that you can use to your advantage, and it's very neat, and I really appreciate that. The fourth reason this game is a little bit different and why I like it is that there's an option where you can actually study enemy weaknesses, and what this does, it makes it so enemies that you find tough, you can actually make it so they have half health and essentially weakens them. Now, I'm not sure if it actually makes it so they're weaker when they hit you, but I know it makes their health lower. And I think that's really cool because, like, I know there are some enemies that are just a pain in the ass, and the only way to really take them out is put 6 arrows in them, or you can study them and only have to do a couple shots. And I think that's a really kind of neat thing to add, and it's like one of my favorite things to do is just research all the enemies and try and make it easier on myself. I think that's a really cool upgrade addition to add in this game. I think it's very neat. Now that I got the good stuff out of the way, let's talk about the bad about the game. The first off is longer load times. And the load times, they aren't insanely long, 5 to 12 seconds maybe. I did a video on Cuphead, those levels usually take 10 seconds to load. Wizard of Legend sometimes takes like 30 seconds to load, but you don't really notice it, so I don't complain about load times unless it's a minute or 2 minutes and then you think your game's frozen. That's when load times are an issue. But 5 to 12 seconds, that's not too bad. It's kind of a con, but it's not, so take it how you will. I know some people hate load times, so this does kind of have just a short load time. The second reason you may not want to get is that you can kind of tell how cheap it is. The items, when they drop, you have food, you have runes, you have gold. When they drop from enemies, they kind of look out of place. They almost look like you went on Microsoft Paint and kind of copy and pasted them onto the screen. That might be a personal thing of mine, but some of the things look out of place. The text looks out of place. It looks like you went in Microsoft Word and just typed in words for the characters to say. And then on the maps, and it'll show gold on the map to show that there's gold in the room, but it'll show the gold right in the middle of the map, and it won't exactly show where it is. So sometimes the gold is hard to see, or sometimes the items are hard to see because they're behind something, and you just can't find it. And that's probably what they intended, but it can be kind of annoying. You know when you hold a cheap controller in your hand and it feels really plastic? That's kind of what this game is when you look at it. You play it, you look at it, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm playing a cheaper title, but it doesn't mean it's not fun, it just looks the price. The third reason why it may not be worth a purchase is because it can get kind of repetitive in the sense that there are bosses at the end of so many floors you go through, and those bosses are the same every single time. And while they do get easier because you get used to fighting them, that's just it. They get easier because you're used to fighting them. And there's no variation. It's the same bosses every time. It's the same enemies on the way to the bosses. So really there's no different elements to it. Once you get so far and you start seeing the same stuff, it can get kind of boring. Blizzard of Legend, Enter the Gungeon, I'm sure other roguelike games that I have not played do this, but they shuffle between a few bosses. They are possible to encounter. Yeah, Mana Spark doesn't do that. It's the same boss every time. You just, like I said, you learn to get better versus the boss. So it's a gripe. It is a negative. The fourth reason why it may not be worth a purchase is because it honestly can get pretty unfair at times. While it does require patience and it requires a little bit of strategy and skill to get through the levels, if you get hit by one enemy, you're losing 2 hearts of health. You have, I think, 3 max. If you're the crossbow lady, you have 2 hearts. So that's basically 1 hit, you're dead. It might be 1.5 hearts they take away, but I know it's a lot. And basically it's either a 1 hit or 2 hits and you're dead kind of game. And there are other games like that, but this game, it almost feels a little cheap in a way, because there are certain traps, like there's poison that poisons you, and there are certain other traps and things that make it just kind of unfair. And the rooms are sometimes stacked, so you have 4 different skeleton archers shooting at you, and there's really nothing you can do. Yeah, you can dodge, yeah, you can lay down your own traps, but really, like, once you start alerting all the other skeletons and they're all charging you, that's game over. There's not much you can do. So the game does feel a little bit unfair at times. I know there are times where I'm having a perfect run and then I run into one snag and I'm dead. And other games are a little bit more forgiving. This game's not. And that it can be kind of annoying because it's hard to get very far. It's hard to do a lot of things. It's hard to get very far in the game just due to that. So now you have 4 reasons of each why the game is worth a purchase and why it may not be worth a purchase. I'm going to tell you what my personal opinion is and what I think about it. So I bought this game because it's $1.99. So this game has been on sale for $5, been on sale for $6. It's usually $10 though. So when I made my purchase, I only did so because it was $2. And that's really cheap for a roguelike game that kind of switches up the formula a little bit. That's pretty good. Personally, I don't regret paying $2 for it. I think it was worth the purchase. I'm probably still going to continue to play it. Even though I kind of only bought it to kind of review it and see how it actually was, I'm probably going to continue to play it just because it is kind of enticing to play. It is something different. It's a fresh take on the roguelike genre. It is a little bit different from the other roguelike games I do play. So I think it is worth $2. If you're into roguelike games and you don't care that it looks kind of cheap, $2 is worth it. I think it's worth the $2. Now if you were to ask me if it's worth $5, when it's on sale for $5, it's hard to say. I know it's been on sale for $5 before and I looked at it and I didn't buy it because $5 was out of my budget for that type of game. Now if you ask me if it's worth it at $6, $6.50, now you're kind of teetering on that line between paying $10 more for Enter the Gungeon or $4 more for Wizard of Legend that's on sale right now as well, or buying this kind of budget roguelike title. Now if you ask me if you would pay $10 for it, no, I would not pay $10 for this game. And like I said, I only say that because Wizard of Legend is on sale for the same price. Enter the Gungeon is like $5 more and it has more content to it. And it's a little bit more fun. You can do co-op in that. You can't do co-op in Mana Spark. Enter the Gungeon just has more to it. It's a lot more fun, it's more quirky, and Enter the Gungeon is just a great game. But that's not the point. The point is that there's other titles that are very similar to it that are better for a few bucks more. So overall, right now on sale, Mana Spark. Yeah, I'd say buy it. If you've played Mana Spark, leave a comment below on whether you enjoy it, whether you don't like it. It's a game that's very hit or miss for everyone. If you want to watch my previous video, click up here. If you want to subscribe, which I really think you should, click up here. I just hit 50 subs. I'm going to buy a new mic Friday, so my quality is going to get a little bit better. So I appreciate everyone who's bared with me through the kind of the poor quality videos. I hope to put out better stuff because I'm really enjoying this and I want to make sure I put out the best stuff for everyone who watches. It's about 7:30 right now, which means Game of Thrones is on in 35 minutes. And it's episode 5, so it's almost over. So I gotta get going. So I really appreciate everyone watching. I'll see y'all next time. Adios. Thank you for letting me use your makeup mirror as well. This is the future, babe.